Hey, what is up everyone, and welcome back to another video. So the entire market has absolutely dumped off. Now, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Yesterday we also were talking about how the market is dumping off and how that dump will continue into Monday, as Monday, which is today, is when the stock market opens, and a lot of investors are going to be selling off stocks, which then piles back into crypto. Now, this crash is worse than the FTX crash. It's worse than the COVID crash. It's one of the worst crashes, sort of in the last 5 to 7 years that we've really had. And yeah, it's really interesting to see. It's all caused by the tariffs. Now, the reason the tariffs are such a huge sort of negative catalyst is because it could start a complete global trade war, which essentially means that global trade just stalls, the economic output falls, and companies start to rethink their investments, and the supply chains alter further. So it's completely, sort of out of crypto's hands. It's nothing to do with crypto necessarily. It's more to do with the economical state of America and how they're dealing with trades in China, Mexico, and Canada. So although Trump might be trying to use these tariffs as a bargaining chip, and if they don't go through, for example, then there probably will be quite a big bounce in the market and the market will relax. But if they do continue and these other countries start to fight back, then the risk of economic turmoil will just increase, and it'll be interesting to see how the market reacts, because usually these crashes aren't lasting really long, especially when Trump's in presidency. For example, obviously we had the bear market, but this isn't following the cycle. The bull market should still be continuing if we're following a cycle. But yeah, for example, when we saw the epidemic crash in 2021, I have all these stars on here for no reason, but when we saw that crash, it went from 65 all the way down to 30, which is like a 50% drop. But within the snap of our fingers, we jumped right back up, hit a new all-time high at 70,000, and that took maybe 2 quarters. So quite quick really for like 100 and something percent move up on Bitcoin. And obviously during the inauguration we saw a huge pump up, which is what we've seen, and now we're seeing this slight decrease. Now, this isn't a move that was unexpected. It was definitely not expected to happen this quick though. So if you remember a few videos ago, we talked about this being a extremely strong support and that it must be held in order for it to continue the bullish momentum that we have. However, we also, when we are at these lows here, we're talking about how these lows right here haven't been swept yet, and the market usually likes to sweep these lows, and we'll go through a heat map in just a second. But the market likes to sweep these lows because that's where a lot of orders lay, especially buy orders at these low levels. So when we clear those buy orders and we liquidate them, it adds more liquidity into the market, allowing bigger market makers to enter. So that's potentially what could be going on. We did clear a lot of liquidations though. I think $1 trillion worth of liquidations were cleared. It's the biggest clear in like forever, I think. Post Luna, the Luna crash wasn't this bad, the FTX crash wasn't this bad, the COVID crash wasn't this bad. So yeah, it's definitely a huge one. And if we look here on the monthly heat map chart, we can see we had a lot of liquidations building up at $110,000, and these are all short liquidations, by the way. So a lot of people were already entering shorts when we were at these highs. So a lot of people probably knew that something was up, or they were just basing it off technicals. But regardless, we also had a large pile, like 200 million worth of shorts building up just below these lows of longs. Now we have absolutely decimated those liquidations, and you can see right here they're absolutely gone. The chart's gone purple from that, and yeah, I mean, all those longs are gone. We're now going to see a little bounce, obviously, which is already happening. It absolutely nuked though overnight. We hit $91,400, $300 even, which is an extreme low. And what makes it even worse is that dominance right here was absolutely pumping through. We hit a high which I've never seen before, which is at 4,687. Huge high. Will obviously drop down now, but again, if we wanted any sort of alt season to happen, we needed this to close below these levels right here at 3.3 or 3.2 as well. So a lot of coins have actually really dropped from their supports and from their ranges that they were trading at. So for example, HBAR over here has dropped to 18 cents, you know, which hasn't been in since November, the end of November, and it's obviously seen a slight pullback now. XRP dropped to $1.77, an extreme low. Again, pulled back now, and luckily for us, we, you know, with our strategy, we weren't able to enter any longs, because again, if you're not familiar with my strategy, it's usually based on the daily. So we find a narrative on the daily. In my opinion, the narrative is still bullish. We're still trending up in the, you know, longer term time frame. So I'm finding support levels like this, for example, seemed like a good support level, so I'd be entering longs here. Then I go into a lower time frame and actually find my exact entry. Now, no entry was found because there's no sort of smart money entry to be found here. It's just decimating down, and for, you know, a long entry, for example, would have been like here. This is a good example. We see a move down here, and then this right here would be my fair value gap, where I try and base an entry off. Then we enter on 100% of the fair value gap fill, and then you can try and target previous highs, new highs, you know, high from here, stop loss. Can you go at the previous low, this wick low, really however you want. You can even base the trade off of the daily, take profit, and so on and so forth. So we need some sort of bullish momentum in order for the trade to be valid, and you know, during this crash there really was no bullish momentum to be found. We were just crashing. So luckily for us, no longs were entered, even though we were looking for some, and we've now seen a slight pullback. Like, this is a huge pullback as well, not to mention it's a 33% move up. So you can imagine this is 40% or something candle, 30% candle down, which is huge, absolutely huge. Coins like Sui as well, dumping quite a lot through. Again, we were talking about these, you know, potential levels, which I didn't think would be hit this easily, or at least this soon. Fetch, another coin. This is, you know, a coin that has performed extremely well in 23, 24. Now is really being decimated. It might even fall down to like 50 cents, or hopefully it holds this level here at like 65 cents. Coins like Render hit $3.28, you know, which is an extreme low. With the last time we were there, it was in August of 2024, and the time before that was in January of 2024. Other coins, Polkadot for example, hit our previous accumulation level here at like $3.80. AVAX is actually one of the coins that it is dumping, but I suppose it's, you know, sort of back to where it was in November. A slow acting coin, but I think it's a good coin to hold to sort of relax a bit, because it's not, you know, dumping as much as other coins are, where they see a huge pump, huge dump. Solana down below $200 now, also came back down to the level it was at in January of 2025. ETH saw a huge dump down to $2,100. You know, that is huge. ETH is one of the main coins that sort of predicts when alt season is happening, and when ETH is pumping, you'll usually see alts pumping, or at least the next following days you'll see alts pumping. And I think we're now going to get a real shift in market sentiment. You know, the previous few weeks, month or two, has really been more dedicated towards meme coins, and a lot of people were trying to trade meme coins because they saw other people, you know, putting $10 in, getting 10 million out. So I think that has really caused a shift from people going, you know, from utility based coins to now meme coins. But a lot of exchanges released stats on, you know, how many of those traders were actually winning, and there was like 50% of traders lost all their money, you know, 10% of traders didn't trade at all, or like 20% traders didn't trade at all, and the only traders that actually made money was like 0.5%, and those traders only made like $100, and you know, the 0.0001% were the ones that are turning, you know, a few dollars into millions, and then they would just blow that on another meme coin. So I think now we're going to get a shift into utility based coins. I hope we do, because utility based coins don't see a 50x pump and then, you know, a 99% dump. They're not pump and dumps. They're simply utility-based coins. They're more so companies rather than coins. The way I like to look at a lot of, you know, coins and crypto is they're simply companies that haven't launched on the stock market. They instead release their own currency, which you can buy into and hold. One of my favorites is Render, for example, which has obviously seen a huge crash, and that's not to say that the utility behind it is trash, the team behind it is trash, or that the company itself is trash, because it's one of the best, you know, sort of companies with the best utilities behind it. If you don't know, Render essentially doesn't create, but it's a marketplace for like digital GPUs. So if you're trying to build an AI, or, you know, do machine learning, and you haven't got the GPU power, you can just rent the GPU online, and it's not that it gets shipped to you, but you digitally get to use that computing power. So instead of having to buy thousands of NVIDIA GPUs, you can just rent them, and once your task is finished, you know, it gets claimed back, and do so with render tokens. So yeah, when AI narrative is pumping, I think render should be pumping as well. But because people are so focused on meme coins, you know, these coins aren't able to pump and see the real value, which is also why we've not seen huge highs in altcoins. If you remember in 21, you know, 16, 17, even previous to that, whenever the bull market was happening, all these altcoins were also pumping a lot because people were interested in other projects that were also creating good utility. Whereas now, nobody is trying to find those projects or even really looking into it. There's only, you know, like 4 main coins, which is Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, and Solana. So those are the only coins that people really know about, which they're usually going to invest in. Solana is one of the only coins because of the meme coins. So that's the main reason why we haven't seen alts really fly. And the one thing you have to remember is investing in trading, you're not, the crypto or stock doesn't go up because it's a good company or because they earn a lot or anything like that. They only go up when people buy and when there's more buyers than sellers. That's the only time it goes up. It doesn't matter if they release the best earnings, if, you know, Donald Trump is buying. If other people aren't buying into it, then it's not going to go up. There could be the best news released ever and it doesn't go up because people don't buy. So in that sense, eyes have to be on these coins. And I think now that people have realized, or hopefully they realize, I don't control people, but hopefully they can see all these coins on a huge dip. They realize meme coins aren't it, and they start investing into these coins so we can actually see a nice pump up. That's my sort of thesis behind it. Again, we're probably going to see a slightly, we have already experienced the worst drop there is, you know, I don't think we'll see another one of these drops. Hopefully we don't. The stock market obviously opens today, so we might experience a slight lower drop. The wicks are already placed in. There's clearly buyers stepping in. So yeah, I think the worst of the worst has been experienced. Yes, the S&P will open up. We'll probably see a little smaller dump when that does happen. But once these bounces start coming in, hopefully it will be quite soon. And hopefully the tariffs fall through. Again, it's going to be short-term pain. I think even Donald Trump said it. Long-term, as long as there's no real trade wars occurring, we should be okay. But it's all politics at the end of the day, and nobody can really control that. But if you did enjoy the video and you did find it helpful, please make sure to like and subscribe, as it helps out a ton. If you need a place to buy, sell, or trade cryptocurrency for the lowest fees and the best sign-up rewards, then check out all the exchanges we're working with down below. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Goodbye, guys.